World leaders international community to meet virtually December 10 for a global human rights summit. We'll be bringing you much more with Ponjan. Talking on the phone crisis, government inaugurates disarmament, demobilization and reintegration center of MISELE in TIKO in aim to empower ex-fighters. And finally, the World Health Organization estimates that over 627 million persons have died of malaria worldwide. Those were the headlines, and now the news in full. Hello, Africa. It's always an immense pleasure being with you. Let's take the news. Friday, December 10 is World Human Rights Day. It's meant for the international community to raise your voices against human rights violations. And that day, the International Human Rights Commission is organizing a crucial virtual conference on the issue. The event will bring together leaders from different spheres of life. Among the special guest speakers is Mr. Boni Deshako, who is a major magnet, president and CEO of Dash Major Watch.
If there's one thing which the world needs right now, it's the respect for human rights. Come December 10th, 2021, world leaders, diplomats, policymakers, and even media moguls will join their voices to echo this call. On this year's edition of World Human Rights Day, the International Human Rights Commission, led by His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Shahid Amin Khan, is hosting a crucial international virtual summit to address concerns on civil liberties. Join the fight for human rights now. Keep in mind that together we have the power to reshape the world and build back a better future for all generations. Speaking at the event are Adnan Mansour, former Lebanese Foreign Minister, Michal Mlinar, Slovakia's ambassador to the UN, Boni Deshako, media tycoon, Zelan Kada, senior government advisor, and many others. You don't want to miss out on this global conference.
Make sure to follow that event on Dash News. The new Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center of MISELE in the district of TIKO has just been inaugurated by Fayengo Francis, the national coordinator of the DDR, a center which is reported to have cost the government over $1 billion CFA. Fayengo Francis told the press that the center is part of the investment program which President Paul Biya had set up for this rehabilitation in the country. He also took the opportunity to thank the partners who stood the finished part of this project. Get more in this report proposed by Bibiana Shnita Vuma.
The National Coordinator of Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration in Cameroon, Fayengo Francis, recently inaugurated a new Southwest DDR Center in MISELE, TIKO subdivision. This new center is said to occupy about 30,000 square meters of land. Within this new construction are 6 dormitories, a church, a hospital, an administrative block, and a refectory. According to the Southwest Regional Chief, the former site where the center used to operate had a major problem, which was space, so the new site comes in to solve this problem. He says the inmates will henceforth be able to carry out activities which they couldn't before now. The ex-combatants will henceforth be able to benefit better from the opportunities the center offers, as now authorities say they will be able to exploit all the sectors they originally previewed.
So the center is within the investment program. What does that mean? First, the structure. Secondly, the equipment which is on the way. Thirdly, the training, formation, and then of course the settlement, the teaching settlement of the experts.
This DDR center was done with assistance from some youths in the subdivision who have put in their best to meet the December deadline.
The political opposition party leader in Mali, MARIKO, has been arrested following insulting remarks against the Malian Prime Minister, Maiga, after the release of a record alleged to be the voice of the government official, talking about the 2012 coup d'etat. Valerie Monono gets into the story as the struggle for power intensifies in Mali.
The Malian political figure, MARIKO, has been arrested after giving negative remarks about the Prime Minister, Maiga. The remarks were given as a reaction to a viral audio recording alleged to be that of the Prime Minister, talking about Amadou Sanogo and the 2012 coup, where the leader escaped justice as pertains the case of the murdered Red Beret soldiers, because of the demeaning information he had against the Malian and French government. Although many claim the voice is seemingly recognizable, controversies have arisen as some consider the use of technology to change voice effects, all in a bid to tarnish the image of the Malian Prime Minister. However, no remarks have been made by Maiga on the audio accusations, as well as on the arrest of the opposition party leader, MARIKO, by the Cameroon Research Brigade of the National Gendarmerie, initiated by the Court of Commune 4 of Bamako. As the power struggle continues in Mali and the exposure of information, many regard the arrest of MARIKO as a red flag and hope for a proper resolution to the power race in the country.
The Court of Cassation granted more than December 6 provisional release to the former Chief of Staff of Félix Tshisekedi, Vital Kamerhe. He had been sentenced on appeal to 13 years in prison for acts of corruption. Congolese justice had found him guilty of embezzling more than $48 million intended for the construction of social housing in the part of the presidential program known as the 100 Days. The details in the report with Bassani Banane Etombo.
Arrested on April 8, 2020, Vital Kamerhe, former Chief of Staff of President Félix Tshisekedi, was sentenced to 20 years in prison on June 2020. Congolese justice found him guilty of embezzling more than $48 million intended for the construction of the social housing in the part of the presidential program dubbed 100 Days. Incarcerated in Makala prison, he left the penitentiary August 23, 2020 for health reasons, which prompted a huge support for his release. As head of the Congolese Party, Union for Congolese Nation, one of the allied parties of President Félix Tshisekedi, Vital Kamerhe was serving his terms at a clinic where supporters, including close collaborators and family members, had access to him and continued pressing for his release by threatening political consequences if their leader is kept imprisoned. With a strong advocacy, the Court of Cassation granted Monday, December 6th, provisional release of the former Chief of Staff, Vital Kamerhe, causing jubilation from the leader's supporters. The court's ruling compromises his chances of running for the 2023 presidential elections as the law seriously frowns against corruption.
A warm welcome to you. If you're just joining us, you're watching the Dash News. It is clear that ever since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, malaria, a #1 health issue, has for a time overshadowed the treatment in Africa. According to the World Health Organization, surveillance and proper follow-up of malaria hasn't been adequately done for some time. Let's hear the details right ahead. Malaria, detected in the yesteryears and still a killer amongst the African population. Meanwhile, a new data from the World Health Organization has revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted malaria services, leading to an increase in death cases. According to the report, there is an estimated 241 million malaria cases and 627,000 malaria deaths worldwide in 2020, which represent over 14 million more cases in 2020 compared to 2019 and 69,000 more deaths.
I think we are on the verge of a potential malaria crisis, where not only are we getting closer to elimination and eradication globally, but the problem becoming worse in a substantial number of parts of Africa. This calls for a renewed sense of purpose, of action, of addressing what is far from being an unfinished agenda. It is still a massive global health problem that needs to be tackled with decisiveness and having countries, the endemic countries themselves, leading the charge.
According to the WHO, approximately 2/3 of these additional deaths, which make up 47,000, were linked to disruptions in the provision of malaria prevention, diagnosis, and treatment during the pandemic. Since 2015, the baseline date for World Health Organization Global Malaria Strategy, 24 countries have registered increase in malaria deaths. In the 11 countries that carry the highest burden of malaria worldwide, cases increased from 150 million in 2015 to 163 million cases in 2020, and malaria deaths increased from 390,000 to 444,600 over the same period.
The significance of these two announcements, first the WHO recommendation, secondly the Gavi endorsement, is, I believe, truly historical. We need new tools. With the tools we have right now, we can save lives, and we have saved lives. But we cannot imagine that we will go on making the type of progress that is needed. We need also technological tools. We need new vaccines. We need new medicines. And the fact that for the first time a malaria vaccine can join.
As part of intervention to reduce the infection rate, the World Health Organization had equally recommended a first-generation malaria vaccine to be deployed broadly to children living in areas of moderate or living in suburb areas. The quality of services provided by internet connection to Cameroonian users was strongly affected on Monday in the capital, Yaounde. The device and equipment used for this supply is said to result from acts of vandalism, causing disruptions on the telecommunication network. This situation, which is becoming more and more serious as days go by, is raising questions among the authorities but also among users. Subiru Madina has more.
Underground cables have been cut and the equipment used to provide internet optical fiber services has been virtually sabotaged. This is a situation that prevails on several sites of the national operator's installations, the main provider of internet services. These acts of vandalism, which are becoming more and more recurrent in Cameroon, are the origin of the disruptions observed on the various networks in recent days. The situation, according to observers, is justified by the recent increase in the various rates applied to internet services offered by optical fiber. To say, some services are now free of charge, while other users have to pay between 25,000 to 86,000 francs CFA for the installation and maintenance of the equipment. Similarly, the transportation of optical fiber equipment is also sold on the black market because of the copper contained in it. This would justify the acts of vandalism. Nevertheless, the authorities are committed to finding solutions to this inconvenience caused to users in order to definitively restore the fluidity of the internet network.
The Yaounde-NSIMALEN motorway will be open to the public by the end of December 2021. This is what emerges from the visit carried out on Monday, December 5th, by Housing and Urban Development Minister Celestine Kecha-Coteres to the construction site this December 5th. The details with Baseni Banene.
The Yaounde-NSIMALEN motorway stretch of road is one of the key roads that will be used during the AFCON 2021 in January by AFCON delegations and the public. Construction had advanced on the road considerably, but finishing touches have to be done. The minister, Celestine Kecha-Coteres, has instructed the company to speed up works in order to meet the deadline. The construction of the Yaounde-NSIMALEN motorway, which has been on for the last 7 years, will soon be over. For now, the solar panels have been installed along the road, but more equipment to be installed before it becomes open for the public. It is revealed works now stand at 97% completion rate after delay due to the heavy rainfall recorded in recent months and the COVID-19, which delayed the arrival of equipment. As Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Coteres, with a key role in the AFCON 2021, she assures that the roads, sports infrastructures, hotels and hospitals are all being set to ensure a smooth AFCON 2021. Reason why the YAOUNDE-NSIMALEN motorway will be open to the public by the end of December 2021.
A 3-day trading session kicked off on December 8th at JICAM to empower 35 small and medium-sized enterprises all owned by women. These enterprises owners will have academic and financial support from the United Nations Development Program. Nadim Mebune has the details.
Rapid financing facility. Strengthening small and medium-sized enterprises for economic resilience and recovery in the face of COVID-19 is the project that started today at the JICAM. Organized by the United Nations Development Program to provide funds and train enterprise owners to be able to mitigate the challenges that come with COVID-19. Euphrasi Kwame is a strategic technological advisor of the United Nations Development Program.
We'll train them on different modules, on different, let's say, thematic, for them to be more, to be more resistant or more resilient to the impact of the COVID-19. We'll also support the women entrepreneurs by improving their access to finance, because they can get the training, they can be reinforced, we can reinforce their capacity, but if they don't have access to finance, it will be difficult for them to build back better.
35 women from the Female Entrepreneurship Association have been selected to be trained on entrepreneurship to strengthen their businesses through the United Nations Development Program. Participants came with high expectations.
I think the different training will help me, first of all, to maybe master very well how to manage a staff. We lack competencies on managing human resources in small and medium-sized enterprises. And the second aspect is about certification. Maybe this time I hope that it won't just be theoretical words that they keep telling us on how and the different processes that we need to go through in order to certify our product. But maybe I hope they will just guide us also financially.
At the end of the event, the selected small and medium-sized enterprises will benefit from models that will help them improve on their businesses. The event, which is currently taking place at the JICAM, will end on the 9th of December 2021.
And that brings us to the end of this news edition. See you next time. Stay tuned. Go nowhere.